everybody. I'm Christian Holub, and I'm here from Entertainment Weekly at New York Comic Con 2019, and I'm here with the cast of TNT's Snowpiercer. Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for coming. So I wanted to start off. Obviously, Snowpiercer was also the name of a movie that came out a couple years ago.
Unrelated.
And the way that movie ends does not exactly create room for sequels. So what is kind of the relationship of the show story to the movie story?
It's it's a different world, but we really are all inspired by director Bong's movie of Snowpiercer. But we also draw on the graphic novels as well, which are full of great characters and heady concepts. So we've got a deep sort of well to dip into, and for television, we've really managed to create with these guys. It's its own thing. It stands on its own feet. It's its own world, disconnected from those things, but influenced by it for sure.
Awesome. So one of the concepts that is definitely true of both is that there's this train powered by a perpetual motion machine circling a frozen Earth, and more than that, the train is regimented into different sections by different class. And so I was hoping some of you guys could maybe talk about, your characters, whether they're in the tail section, as it's called, or the front section. How much do they know about how the other people live, and what's it like when they kind of interact with people from different sections of the train?
Yeah, I played Andre Layton, and he starts out in the tail, and what he realizes very quickly is that they know very little. Folks in the tail know very little about how the rest of the train operates. They're everyone in the tail got on by raiding the train as it was taking off. So they're essentially living in the cargo section of the train, allowed to keep surviving in exchange for labor, and given the bare minimum that it might take for survival, and not particularly easy survival either. So as Layton starts to discover more about the train, I think he becomes more aware of what a complicated ecosystem it is, and is very concerned with what his people do and don't know.
I think probably the only ones privy to sort of the overall train is like security, right? I mean, like Till, or like people that get to walk the train, because most, like, I'm in the tail, and you don't leave the tail. So but I imagine first class has a sense of, it's not that they come back, but first class would have a sense of us more than we'd have a sense of them, correct? I haven't seen the show.
Yes, they do, and
Right?
they have freer range of motion. Some like, your character certainly has the run of the train.
Yeah, I play Ruth and work in the hospitality department, responsible for making sure everything runs smoothly on the train. And there are also levels of security to the train, so not everyone can just wander around. It's we need to know where people are at all times and what they're doing and who's going through what doors. So I suppose most people are quite limited.
Has there been anyone
They don't know
that
the whole
goes
scope of the train.
from first to tail, like in?
I do.
I do.
But within
All the
within a
time?
day, or because that takes a long time, right?
You can make it.
There's ways.
So your guys' panel earlier today kind of premiered this clip kind of telling the backstory of this world, and the reason that all of humanity is on a train is because the world was frozen, and the reason the world was frozen was as a way to counteract global warming, which is kind of a fun twist on the old, icebreaker question or whatever. Like, would you rather be hot or cold? Like, would you guys rather be stuck in like a desert apocalypse like Mad Max, or like this Arctic apocalypse?
Who uses that question as an icebreaker is what I want to know. What kind of sad life do you have?
I don't know. I kind of would prefer Mad Max.
Yeah, the desert.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sweet. That was easy. The train was created by this guy, Mr. Wilford. He's kind of this genius. He was played by Ed Harris in the movie. What is his kind of presence in the show or in the train? Is he just kind of this invisible figure that everybody kind of obeys vaguely? How do people kind of feel his presence?
Ed Harris was awesome to work with on the show. He's not in a lot of episodes, but he left his mark throughout. He's felt in every car of the train.
He's like, yeah, Ed was our Oz, you know. Ed's behind the curtain somewhere.
Yeah. It's almost like a godlike thing, you know. His presence is felt everywhere, and it's always Mr. Wilford this, Mr. Wilford that. Yeah.
We live by his rules, and some of the characters here are those who enforce them, like Till.
I play a brakeman, which is essentially a cop on the train, and I enforce his rule and order with a baton.
Awesome. And so, obviously on the spectrum from tail to front, there's a lot of different kind of locations in the train. Did you guys have any particular favorite set or train car to kind of act in?
Oh yeah, the night car, which is my car. I play Miss Audrey, and I run the brothel car, which is the night car, and which is also a cabaret.
Oh,
and
wow.
the car is just unbelievably. It's just lavish. It's so decadent, beautiful. That was one of my favorite cars. Yeah.
I was talking earlier how I really love the third class cars because everything in that section of the train is repurposed and made from found materials. So it gets, I think, really like sci-fi lovers are really going to enjoy that part because it really shows like what they've done to survive and how they've kind of made do with whatever resources they have on the train. I was mentioning earlier, there's like a curtain made of little soy sauce packages.
Oh, wow.
And, like lights made out of water containers, and it gets really like steampunk and fun.
Gotta be inventive in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
There's some very cool, the art department did so much cool stuff. Like there's a bunch of, if you look really closely, there are some light fixtures in third class that are made out of trash that are mimicking really expensive versions of the same thing in first class. So there's this like aspirational quality to to how people are building their living situations. It's kind of amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and stay tuned to EW for continuing coverage of New York Comic Con all weekend.
Thank you.